Excellent. We'll get started in 1 minute, about 3 minutes after the top of the hour. I'm sure folks will trickle in as we get started. These webinars are recorded. We will be sending a recording of the webinar following. It'll be tomorrow with a link to also redeem for swag. So you can keep your eyes peeled for that while people trickle in. Like I said, we will be sending a recording out. So if they jump in a little later. But let's go ahead and get started. Um, Hi, everybody. Welcome to Becoming a Creator with Detections AI. Today, we will be going through how to build community, how to become a contributor, whether you are an active contributor now or you're just kind of browsing and perusing for detections. This will cover all the basics of kind of creating that community. Joined with me is Aaron Moog and Tim Peck. Um, Aaron, if you want to hit the next slide, I can introduce everybody. Awesome. I'm Caroline Matz. I lead marketing here at Detections AI. Like I said, joined with me is Aaron Moog. He's our head of community, and then Tim Peck, our director of threat research. We'll be here to answer questions, but Aaron is going to take us through the demo today. One more slide, and I will share a little bit more about what we're covering, and then Aaron, you'll kick us off. Awesome. So, like I said, today we'll be talking about how to build community and how to grow your personal brand. We are a community of over 10,000 engineers. So, you are leveraging detections from a global community, and you're able to share in front of a pretty large audience. Second, we'll talk about growing your personal brand, whether it's your personal brand or your corporate or organization brand. We'll cover that. And then Erin will also be covering leading groups, both private and public. So whether it's your own personal group with some of your engineer peers or it's a group that is associated with your organization, we will cover that as well. And I'm sure, Erin, you will sprinkle in some other tidbits of information that I didn't intro, but I will leave that up to you.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I will do my best to make this as concise as possible. I'm a bit of a talker, but I will start with our Sections I platform. I'm just going to get right into it and not do a bunch of slides or anything like that. I'm Aaron. I'm the head of community at Sections AI. I'm going to cover a little bit more about our platform from a usability and networking perspective versus just a technical deep dive. Tim, who's on the line here, does a monthly technical deep dive. Also, if you're more interested in like really in-depth AI development of rules and bringing Intel into rules, things like that, I'm going to hit on it a little bit here, but I'll go a little lighter. And then we'll talk about some of the newer features we're also rolling out, which I think is great. So starting with kind of the basic detections AI structure, as I hope all of you are already members. If not, you can join as we're talking here. Just use community as your invite code. We are an invite only platform for right now. We've managed to get to almost 11,000 people with invite only. I don't know at what point we'll open that up, but today we're going to keep it. Most of the folks on the site have either asked to be invited or have been invited, somebody already on the site. But once you're through that door and you get through the auth door, we support a bunch of different auth mechanisms. This is where everybody lands. So like a lot of platforms, everything starts with your profile. So if you kind of look at your profile settings, we have a couple things going on here. One is we've added the ability for you to add your socials. You're under no obligation to join the site with any specific name or handle. We have people using aliases, hacker names, whatever. Obviously, if you use your LinkedIn, it has to be your pathing or your X could be anything you want. But this is a great way to sort of highlight who you are behind the screen, if you will, of if you're going to contribute detections or run a group. Sometimes people like to know who you actually are. So you can edit all this right here. Everyone has a little edit sign right next to it. You can change that. You can change your screen name and things like that too if you wish. And then you do, as you joined, most of you probably picked a profile picture. If you want to go back to that well, you just click on your picture. You can do generic avatars or do text-based. Um, you know, let's see. So I'm going to do this live, see how this goes. But let's just get time up here to do something like this. So it'll generate avatars. There is a limit here. I think it'll do 10 sets or something like that, but I don't know that anybody's ever hit that. But if I wanted to change my profile picture to this for the holidays, save it, and there's my new Santa Claus fighting Godzilla profile picture. So you can do whatever you want here. There are, obviously it's AI, so you have the AI restrictions, but for the most part, people have a lot of fun with this, and it's a cool thing to do. There is a little bit of prompt engineering to make it exactly what you want to make it, but go for it. So this is profile. Every single person on the site has a profile. Everybody's profile is public. We don't have any ability to hide profiles. Again, you don't have to put your real name in here if you don't want to, but that's fundamentally what we do. So most people come to the site and start with discovery. So I'll go through the front page here in a second, but I'll start with the front page. So when you come to our front page after you sign up, we do try to highlight kind of recency and importance of detections. Not all detections go on the front page. We have to sort of algorithmically pick what we want to do. But this is a great place to sort of see kind of what's trending. And then you have the intel, which I'll come back to, which is more news driven. We are redesigning the front page to be more news driven. And in January, we will be rolling out leaderboards. So that's pretty exciting. So there'll be incentivized leaderboards for overall sharing, language specific sharing. And it's all based on sort of timelines and rewards and recognition. There'll be badging, things like that. So really excited to roll that out. So this is going away in about 3 weeks, but this is what it looks like today. But most people start with Discover detections. I'm sure all of you have seen this. This is our stream of detections. You see any detection for whatever permissions you have. So if you're in 10 groups, you're going to see detections from 10 groups. But everybody who joins this site is part of this detections AI community. So if you go to the detections AI community, you can actually see this here. You can see the number of members who have chosen to join this community. Obviously, you can leave if you don't want to see this. But this is the bucket everybody can share to. And you can see, this is the bucket that gets the most sharing, right? For the most part. In 4 months, there's been 1,675 detections added in just the public group. There's thousands more in other groups. So this is a pretty great place to sort of start. But again, most people are going to start here. There's a filtering up here. You can set your filters if you're interested in specific languages. You really want to follow, what's going on with Sentinel-1. You can set this up. Show me in the last week. Here's all the different detections that have been contributed for S1. You can save filters too if you want. So you could save filter, S1. This is brand new for us. We rolled out where you can subscribe to email updates. So on a digest basis, it will send you the updates for whatever filter you set up. So if you want to, be told when there's new S1 detections, you can just turn this on, and it will send you basically a daily digest. It won't send you for each one. It'll send you just at the end of the day. If there's no new detections, it won't send you anything. It's a pretty decent subscription model, but that's there for you if you're interested. If you want to follow certain communities, if you want to follow certain people, you can set up subscriptions. If you wanted to be really cool and follow Tim here and then be alerted by email whenever Tim uploads a new detection. You can save it like that and then come back to it and edit the filter anytime you want. So that's our email filtering and save filters. That's just right here. You can see here I can save, and now I'm going to see Tim's detections. So pretty easy to use filtering. Lots to do here as far as like discovering what people are doing, looking at different detections. If I go into a detection, um, you'll see there's a bunch of enriched data here. We're always trying to get better at tagging, AI descriptions, things like that. I'll get a little bit more into this in a few minutes as we build one. But this is kind of where a lot of people spend their time in discovery detections. Um, Everything that you publish needs to go somewhere if you're going to share a detection. I'll kind of show you what that looks like. So other than the generic, everybody's a part of a community, we have all of these groups. So groups are a way to create kind of sub working groups on top of the bigger platform. You can see if you go into groups, you can see some of the different groups that have been started. You can see who's in, how many followers they have versus members. So you can see a group here, where there's more followers than our members. This is not uncommon. It allows you to understand. Um, to publish one to many. I guess if you look at this, that way, it's a pretty easy way to sort of manage content groupings. Any group that you see here, you have permissions to follow and permissions to join. I'll show you private groups in a minute. But if you wanted to follow the hunters group, you just click, I'll unfollow it just for the sake of argument, and then refollow it. Join, all it means is that you want to be able to publish detections and collaborate. If you just want to see the feed, you can come in here. So this is kind of how we think about groups. You can search groups. So if you wanted to search for people maybe that are working on Google, you can see here there's a SecOps group, there's a SecOps detection rule group, and there's a civilian reservist working on some Google stuff too. So this is all different groups you can follow. Also, I'll follow these two groups. And obviously you can unfollow if you get sick of their content. But that's kind of how groups works from a just participation perspective. If you are in a group, I joined this group, I can come in here and see a little bit more about it. In this case, this is just a working group. They don't have any detections in here yet. But obviously, if you go to something like Slim KQL, Stevens shared 411 detections, large number of followers, less members, but this is kind of a larger, more popular group. So when you think about groups, you think about starting a group or managing a group. Everything here starts with this little create group right here. So you can come here. Pretty straightforward. So I'll just call this creator demo. Uh, So you basically just name your group. Again, this is editable. It's not permanent. You can describe it as you want. This can be pretty long. You can add URLs, things like that here. You can create a custom image if you want. Most people do. This one's an upload. We didn't want to make this AI because people want to use logos and things like that, like Splunk. I don't want them to have to try to AI figure out how to create their image. So this is just manual. Square image 256 by 256, pretty standard notation. Um, it will turn into a little hexagon, so sometimes you need to size it right. So when you start a group, there's a couple of concepts here. So there's public, which is totally open. Anybody can join, add a rule, anybody can follow you. It's really very open. This is very popular. This is why I say most groups are public. We want to encourage contributions from our communities. That's great. If you are looking for a one-to-many relationship, meaning you want to have a group where maybe you're promoting your brand, your company, whatever. You maybe want people to join, but you don't necessarily want everybody to be able to share rules. You can make that moderated. So only people you approve to be members of the group can post content. Anybody can follow you, anybody can see your detections. Private is just that. Private is invite only, or obviously you have to be able to see the group to join it. So we have an option here for unlisted. So if you come into here and you see a private group, you join it. The moderator can let you in or out. It's totally up to them. If you create a group here and unlist it, literally you're just gonna have to tell people about it. They're not gonna see it in the group directory. It's very private, just for you. This is the vast majority of groups are private unlisted. As far as like just exchanging data with 5, 10, 20 people, working groups, ISACs, Slack groups, whatever. This is a great way to do it. You just don't want any outsiders. This is just for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a group. I'll kind of show you how this works. So I'll create a demo. So once you're into a group, there's a few things you can do, but I'm going to start with manage. So manage is again, you can come back here and reshape all of this. You can delete the group right here if you want. By the way, it will go away. So like that's why it's big red button here. But this is your group, kind of management. You can change your image here, things like that. You will see in here as far as starting, most people start with invitations. So when you go to invite user in our platform, there's a couple things going on here. If you want to invite somebody who's already on the platform, so if I start typing Tim, it's going to find all the Tims in our platform. So I think if I do this, there's Tim, I can invite him to the group, right? But if I invite Tim at anyemail.com, he's not in the platform, so this will create an external invite for them. So it does fork it for you. So if you want to invite 5 people, 3 of which are already on the site and 2 are not, you can do that. It will invite them by email. Once they get invited by email, they do not need an invite code anymore. That is like a magic link, so they can just join the site, which is great. You don't have to deal with invite codes or worrying about getting them in. So that's kind of how we think about invites. like I said, not everybody uses their real name on the site. So if you don't know their handle, sometimes when you invite their email, they'll already be in the site. That's fine. They can just click on the group link. They'll add. It doesn't really matter if they're already a member of the site or not when you get the email. It's just a magic link. So that's how we deal with invites. If I start inviting people, so I'll go ahead and invite Tim to this just because I can. So there he is. Tim's invited. You will see them here as a pending. So there's Tim, and he can join. There is a little button here to revoke it if you decide, oh, that wasn't the right person, or I can resend it to him. So that will re-notify him by email that he just received invite to the new cool creator demo group that I built. So once he joins, if he joins, there he goes. He's already joined as a member. There he is. You can, at this point, you can see their email, and I'll get into why that's important. Up until that moment, if I invite Tim, all I see is at Tim Peck and Tim. I don't see his email address. Once he joins and accepts, I now see his email address, which I'll get into in a minute. But that's very handy. I can send him as an admin if I wanted to, so now he can do all of these things I'm doing. I also can remove him from the group if I so choose. So that's kind of how you track membership. If you have a bunch of members and you want to email them or notify them, we added this new export that will export this full table with their name, handle, email address, and then I think their role. That's very handy if you wanted to do HubSpot integration or you wanted to reach out to people in some way, through an email newsletter or something, you could do it through here. We don't have in-platform messaging right now. That creates a whole bunch of security problems. So if you wanted to email your group, I would recommend you use the export and then just email them. If you have questions about that or you do need to automate it, just let me know. We haven't really had that be a big issue, but we're here to help if that's something that you need help with. Um, you can go to detections. It will show you any detections that you have, and I'll kind of show you how this works in a few minutes. And then promote is the last thing I want to talk about. So there's a couple things you can do in promote. So as you think about people joining Detections AI who aren't already a member, you now have the ability with a group to create your own invite code. So maybe some of you have seen my posts. I'll generally have an invite code that allows people to get in without a friction. But you may want to do a campaign or a Slack message or something. So you have the ability to create an invite code. You can do, whatever code you want here. So I'll just do creator 25 and then I will make it the invite code and create it. So now anybody with this code, they go to detections.ai, join the site already, they'll get into detections.ai. But the extra thing that'll happen is when they join, they will now be a member of this group. So they'll get the regular detections.ai, but they'll also get whatever group you just started, right? So if you're going to do one for a working group and you had 15 people that were in your working group, and you gave them this code, when they join Detections AI, they'll automatically be in your group. You don't have to find them and re-invite them. So that's really nice. You also have the ability to generate just a general link. So now anybody in this who has this magic link will be able to enroll. Same process. They enroll, they click on the link, they sign up for Detections AI. They will get the access to regular site, but they will now also get access to creator demo private group just with these links. So there are a couple ways to get people into the platform. And if they're already a member, so if somebody clicks on this link and for example, Tim's already on the site, obviously it would just take them into the group and they could accept their group invite and it wouldn't affect their normal membership. So this all works pretty great. We're pretty happy with it. You can come in here and disable codes, edit codes if you decided you didn't like the spelling or something like that. It's happened. And then this is all trackable by you. So you can see kind of who came in with your invite codes. It's pretty great to kind of be able to see your community grow this way. So that's groups. I'm just gonna check really quick. I'm not super paying attention to chat. So if there's anybody who has questions, just throw it in chat. And then Tim or Caroline can tell me to shut up for a minute and answer the question. Obviously, you guys also can parking lot it for the end. But if there's any questions about groups, go ahead and put it in chat. But that's kind of how we think about groups. And in this case, it's a private one. You guys won't see this one when you come to the site, but you could create a public group very, very easily. So you think about now in the context of detections and writing and sharing detections, now that we know a little bit more about discovery and a little bit more about groups, how do we think about detection? So I'm going to take you through just writing a detection here. So I'm going to go ahead and view some intel that Tim added for us here 5 hours ago from Cisco. It's got a good detection score. Those of you who haven't seen Tide reports before, Tide report basically summarizes the intel You won't see this little screen here. This is mine. But you'll see the score, and then you'll be able to see if there's any community detections written on that. If you want a good example of this, if you look at the new REST vulnerability and look at the Intel and the original report from Wiz, and now obviously there's a million reports about it, you can see there are quite a few detections written in the platform for this issue already. So pretty great resource for working on a specific threat. We are working very hard on um, shared intel. So right now, this newsfeed comes from us. Again, we're catching most of the big stuff, but we are going to be able to having users be able to add their own intel into Intel Exchange and share articles, things they found are interesting, grouping articles, things like that. But for now, this is what you see. You can see this is going to make a good detection, so I'll go ahead and just do a quick segment detection from this, just as an example. Um, it shouldn't take too long, hopefully. So again, if you haven't done this yet, what this is doing is it's taking this article, turning it into AI context, and then giving me a summary, and that's also giving me some options on the type of creation or detections I want to create. So I'll just, for the sake of argument, do the disabling defender detection. And so I'll generate that. Shouldn't take too long. I'm just going to go through the AI process, write the detection here in a second. So there's the detection. Um, I'm going to save this one. I'm just going to save it out really quick. I don't even know how good this detection is. I have to dig into it here in a second. But just for the sake of argument, so you'd say you put some work into this, you wrote this detection. You can, by the way, maybe have you this right. This is also an editor. So which is pretty great. So you can edit right out of here and we'll update the metadata. Some of the tagging will already be there. I generally will resubmit it to AI once I'm kind of done when I feel like it's in a good spot. You can see it didn't really change too much of the tagging. But obviously it sources back to the original um, uh, detection sourcing, right, which is this Talus article. Um, what is this? Image enter system admin flows, disable enhanced notifications. Okay, so it's poking at turning off Windows Defender alerts. Great. I'm not going to get too far into whether this is a good detection or bad. It's fine. So I'm just going to save this to my library. And then you get this kind of summary screen, right? But now this is yours. So it's different than viewing other people's because you have a couple of different options. The first thing is you can add instructions. So you can add anything you want here. You can have AI help you write detections. So if I go back to my chat that I had going and I bring up this chat history, you can actually say, write a word instruction. Section. Hopefully this should work. So I'll do this sometimes. We're working on making it more AI driven. We're trying not to like take away people's ability. So this is a good little summary of this. I'll take this and go back to my library. I'll edit the one I just built, and I can throw the instructions right in there. And now my detection has instructions. So uh, pretty great. I view instructions as very different than the description. Obviously descriptions to help you find it. This should be to help you use it. You can always come back and edit this, change this, delete this. You have the detection, and then we have comments now, which is pretty great. We're seeing a lot of comment usage. You can also add your own comments here, so you can start the ball rolling. This detection is awesome. Post that, and I can be a commenter on my own section. It will note that I'm the contributor, so I'm not tricking anybody. So this is an unpublished detection, right? So it's just in my library. Nobody can see this but me. You have a couple options here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to. You can translate it here and do different things, but I'm going to go ahead and publish it. But I'm going to publish it. So whenever you hit publish, you're going to see the places that I can publish things, right? If you're in 20 groups, you'll see 20 groups here. In this case, I'm just going to publish it to the demo I just made that Tim and I are in. So now if I go to that group, you should see there's the first detection in the group, right? But again, only Tim and I can see this. It's private. It's not for everybody. If I go back into the rule, I can see uh, um, uh, the comments Tim may have made or likes or whatever it may be. I also have the ability to unpublish it from one group, and I'd say I want to publish it to the larger community. So now this is out there for the whole world to see. So if I go to detection, discover detections, the latest detection should be for me. If you go to detections AI right now, you will also see this. So that's how easy it is to share to almost 11,000 people. Pretty great ability now. Anybody can comment, anybody can download it. But what this also now gives me the ability to do is share it. So share does a couple of things here. You can, when you click share, we have an integration, the pre-built one to X. You can open up if you already signed into Twitter, it will allow you to post it. It'll create the smart link for you, everything like that. Same thing for LinkedIn. It'll help you write a little LinkedIn post. People use this all the time. It's great. I also can just copy the link. So I'm not gonna make a LinkedIn post, but I'll copy the link and kind of show you guys this work. So you can take that link and put it anywhere. Put it in your social post, put it in Twitter, put it in Slack, whatever. I'm gonna log out for the sake of this argument. So if somebody else has this and clicks on this link, and they're not a member of Detections AI, this is what they will see. So they will see a preview, a summary of it. They'll see kind of a faded out preview of it. And then obviously they can request an invite here or join with invite code. A lot of times you can pair this post with your invite code that you created for your group. So if your group invite code is, demo 25, I could, when my social post say, here's the detection. If you aren't a member, join with demo 25, and they can just add that right here. So the preview is pretty great. We get a lot of traction with this. Obviously, if you're already signed in,
Hey, Aaron, hate to
yes,
interrupt, but did you see the Q&A question?
I did not yet. Is there one?
Okay, the question is there any review process for publishing, either for quality or for accuracy? So sorry to interrupt you at dead stop, but thought we
Okay,
could take
that's a
it.
great question. So, no, it's very tied to what I just did right here, which is publishing this. So we do not, I should say, with some exceptions, we do not pass judgment on people's detections. We want people to contribute what they think is important. Detections are one of those beauty is in the eye of the beholder type things. Sometimes very, very simple detections can be incredibly useful. Sometimes really complicated ones can be over the head of certain teams because they don't necessarily think about the world that way. Um, there are many, many reasons why detection might not be good for you, that it could be good for somebody else. I am not the arbitrager of quality. Um, that being said, right, we don't put up with abuse. We don't put up with AI slop. Nobody can upload 500 detections and fill the whole thing up. I will ban them immediately. We have AI agents that watch the platform to make sure that nobody's messing with us. Um, 200 days in and 10,000 people in, this has never been a problem for us so far. Not to say somebody wouldn't do that. Um, now, not to say people don't judge other people's detections. They do. That was one of the reasons we were sort of nervous about comments, right? Because Tim wrote a good rule. He could just easily have written, this sucks. And that's fine. Um, I could take his this sucks and give him a thumbs down. Like it doesn't roll. It's social media, it's social posts. Like there's no right answer to any of this. The answer I always give people is if you don't like the detection, write a better one. There's nothing stopping anybody from contributing a better detection, a more accurate detection, around the same intel on their own. There is no restrictions on that. Obviously, we're not going to put up with abuse and we're not going to let people get out of hand. But so far, so good. Um, you know, the buyer beware also applies here, right? So if you take one of these detections, don't review it, just throw it in your prod and it lights you up like a Christmas tree with alerts. That's on you, right? That's just kind of how we had to do this. We're not a company that pushes this to product and manages responses. This is a community sharing effort and an AI-driven sharing effort. Um, that being said, we get tremendous feedback on how great it is to have a rule repo, how wonderful it is that people can share without being judged, and everybody can sort of make it their own. If you see this rule and you're like, hey, I would love to, copy this in, and I'm going to go to, add detection, and I'm going to paste it in, uh, or Sigma, and I'm going to rewrite the whole thing, and the author is now me, right? Go for it. Like that's what it's here for, right? And we do see that. We do see people sharing things. I see it more in detection, language related, where somebody write a detection in Sigma and somebody else will post it in KQL with sort of the right transforms. That's great. We love that. So there's a lot of options here to sort of make this your own. Um, we are constantly working on the AI, trying to make it better, smarter, faster, more context. We're creating better AI agents to create your own context, things like UDM mapping and data fields and things like that. So the rules come out more custom to you. Those are all things that we're working every day on, and trying to make it, all of you, I'm sure, have a lot of experience with AI and how weird AI can be and create hallucinations and odd stuff. But for the most part, RAI is a massive time saver. I always kind of view it 80/20, right? Like if I write a detection in RAI or any AI, it's going to get me 80% of the way there. Is there work to do? Almost always. But me and Tim were talking about this the other day with writing regex, like what a nightmare it is to write great regex. AI is incredibly good at writing regex. And so like those are the things where I'm just like, go for it, AI. Write me all the variants of the Windows Update domain for this PowerShell detection so I don't fire up when anybody does a Windows update on command line. Like that's amazing. Like I use that all the time. Little nuancy like your own personal data mapping stuff, who knows? I don't have any, great answer for you. Um, I hope that answers your question. If not, please continue to ask inside QA. I don't know why I don't see QA in my bar here. All right. Either way, or just throw it in chat and say that's easy too. So that's kind of how we view sharing. That's how we view. Obviously, you can download rules here. I'm gonna go ahead and unpublish this one for the sake of the platform. I don't even know if this is a very good detection, to be honest with you. So a couple things, other things here, you can mass upload detections. So if you have a zip file or an export of some detections you've been working on, or maybe on another site going where you're sharing stuff, you could go ahead and put them in here. If you open them up and edit them and autofill it, the AI will tag it all for you. It's really awesome. I've had a lot of people do that. In your library screen, couple things happen here. You get the ability to import and export or sync, I should say, with GitHub. So if you have a GitHub repo, you can integrate it here. I'm not going to go through the whole thing on this call, but if you have questions about that or need help on the integration, let me know. It's pretty much you just put your key in and it should work. But if it doesn't, let me know. We've had people sync, I think, up to 10,000 detections that way, and it's been fine. But again, good. Anytime we talk about integrations, weird things can happen. So let me know. There's some other options here. As you build your library, you can see here you do have the ability to save filters here. Do different queries. Oh yeah, which my detections are published, right? Oh yeah, all these are all shared. Versus if I go to draft, I could just see the ones that I wrote that I haven't shared out yet. So there's little filters here. That's great. The other thing I want to show you here is you have the ability to map your detections against MITRE. So if you go to view MITRE coverage, you can see here in my detection library, I have 117 of 679 MITRE techniques covered. You can drive it into any one of these things. So if I look at initial access, replication to renewability, I can see I have a detection here saved from a repo that shows me a data copy to USB sticks, basically. So that's great and interesting. But if you don't have coverage or not enough coverage, if you go for, I'll go for, I don't know, I'll go for content injection. Oh, I don't have any, no problem. If you click on this little discover, this will go shopping for you. This will go out into the detection library and see if there's anybody written anything that I could use to cover this. Oh, look at, Azure wrote an invasive PowerShell strings, save it to my library. You can see my coverage is all green. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean I have coverage for all the different content injection focus areas, but it's a great starting point. So I really like that a lot. It starts MITRE view. You also can do MITRE view across your teams, which I guess I didn't really cover yet. So we have a corporate offering called Teams that allows you and your team to share detections privately forever. It's like a library management thing. This is more of an enterprise corporate feature. If you're interested in it, let me know. But this is primarily there for like enterprises. And so, you always have your personal library, but think of this like GitHub. Like I can share detections, everybody can see it. I can MITRE map my whole team to see where my organization is missing coverage, things like that. So that's how we think about MITRE and the library function. You can always come in here and resume your chat with it. You can publish any rule right out of here, delete rules, organize rules, sort rules, lots of stuff that you can do here. It's pretty easy to do. So that is probably everything I wanted to cover today. Again, the things we're seeing the most use out of is groups, promoting groups, sharing rules to groups, and then the social pieces to get people to come on in, and then obviously focus, right? So communities spring up around Splunk or KQL or Google SecOps or whatever it may be. We find that great. We're here to support it. So if you have questions about how to make a group successful or how we can help you promote it or grow it, like let me know. I'm happy to join in that conversation. All right. So that is all I had for today. Is there anybody has any questions about anything? You can ask in chat, you could ask in QA, or you could ask if you raise your hand, we can unmute you.
Yep, and while we're waiting for some questions to trickle in, I did want to circle back around and say there will be a recording of the webinar shared tomorrow, and inside that email there will be a swag link to redeem, so you can wear our Detections AI swag and
You know
rep
it.
us while you become a creator in the space. So. Please feel free to ask any questions, especially while we have the experts on the line. And then, just piggybacking off of what Aaron said, if there's ever any questions or you'd like to work together with us to either contribute or make content or what have you, we're always looking forward to partnering with people. So either joining a webinar or writing an article, what have you. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. So I don't see any chat or questions coming in. As Caroline mentioned, we're always here. I'm Aaron at Detections AI. You guys probably get a million emails from me. Tim's here to help on any research stuff. Caroline's here to help on any community efforts, marketing, things like that. So we're also very excited because Caroline set up the new swag store. So we're excited to see what the new Detections AI shirts and hoodies look like. So that's really exciting. But I just want to thank everybody for your time today. I know how hard it is to make time. I think there's maybe one more. Oh, thanks, Efren. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here to help. Anything that I can do to help you guys be successful.